debate will open with each candidate giving a 3-minute statement. There will then be a section of questions by the CEO. There are 4 topics for these questions, and each candidate will be asked 1 question per topic, and they are given 2 minutes to respond. Within the entire questions by the CEO section, that's all 4 topics, each candidate is allowed 1 rebuttal, which will last a maximum of 30 seconds. The other candidate is then given 1 minute to respond to the rebuttal. Okay. Candidates will indicate to the moderator when they would like to use their rebuttal. Following the questions by the CEO, we will take a short break to allow candidates to regroup and the audience to take a little rest. Then we will enter questions from the student section. In this section, each candidate is given 10 minutes total speaking time. They may spend as little or as much time as they like on each question. The more time they take per question, the fewer questions they will be able to answer. We will then finish with a 3-minute closing statement from each candidate. I'd like to remind the audience that all questions must be submitted through the online question form, which can be found via the AMS Instagram @Queens_AMS, that's @Queens_AMS, in the bio or linked in the story. The audience will not be handed the microphone at any point during the debate, and please note that the live stream is also linked on the Instagram. Additionally, we ask that everyone remain respectful and professional throughout the evening. Candidates will be penalized for any inappropriate responses as per procedures sent out earlier today, and the debate is to be centered around the candidates' platforms and objectives and will avoid any personal commentary or defamatory remarks. Thank you all. To decide which candidate will give an opening statement first, we will flip a coin. Leo, could you please call heads or tails? It is tails. Nikki, would you like to go first or second?
I would like to go second.
Leo, when you're ready. Yes, and also Nikki, as tails, you will be answering the number 1 questions, and Leo, as heads, you'll be answering the number 2 questions. Yeah, so you're going to give your opening statement first, and then in the document I sent out, you are answering the questions that are number 2.
Number 2, okay. Yeah, thanks.
And then the timer for your opening statement will start whenever you start speaking.
Sure, start it. Yen will fight for you. As a former principal intern and elective Senate student caucus vice chair, and with diverse experience across campus, I worked tirelessly to address student concern to the administration and student assembly over the past 3 years. I've been constantly engaged in debate with Provost Matthew Evan, other senior administration and student leaders, advocating for transparency on the financial deficit and fought for your right behind the scenes. Recognizing the importance of action over words, my focus as your rector will be on uniting Queen's students, both current and alumni together, to foster a stronger sense of community on campus. I plan to focus on improving and promoting the existing services and funding initiative, bringing back more donation from our alumni. Rebuilding the student-alumni relationship is very crucial, and involving our broader community in many efforts will contribute to a more connected and vibrant campus and broader Queen's community. I will also work alongside the incoming AMS and SGPS team to focus on making the information about university regulation and changes more digestible. Also, with the services we provide from the university and student government, I will create a one-stop website, making sure that students outside from the student government will be able to learn and engage in those valuable experiences. In addition, I'm not here to burn bridges. Instead, I hope to rebuild the bridges that help us as a united Queen's community to seek common goals and solutions for all. I will not make empty promises and big word pillars, but will use my expertise on government relationship, communication, interpersonal skills to bring more student voices to the senior administration. And then lastly, I'm here to make tangible changes to our campus and the broader Queen's community by restoring the student-alumni relationship, fighting for our collective interests, and representing students to the senior administration. I aim to create the environment and empower us all. Leo for Rector, Yen will fight for you 2024. And let's work together to build a united, transparent, and vibrant Queen's community. Loyalty, solidarity, and prosperity. Thanks.
Nikki, when you're ready? Or Alicia, are you good on the timer? Whenever you're ready, Nikki.
Hello.
Great.
Hello everyone, my name is Nikki Boychuk-Hale and I am presenting myself as a candidate for the 39th Rector of Queen's University. Last spring, I proudly graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Art, having completed a thesis specialization in printmaking and digital media. I'm now a graduate student pursuing a Bachelor of Education in the Indigenous Teacher Education program. I currently work for the Human Rights and Equity Office, where I have combined my love for communication and policy to support the Sexual Violence Prevention Response Department in updating copy and brand collateral with the newly passed policy. I've worked really hard my entire life to be the best I can for my communities. While everything about me is quite ordinary, I have gotten where I am because of hard work. When I started my first job on campus at Studio Q, I had absolutely no idea how to use Adobe, but I put in hours of research off the clock to learn. I have done the same thing with every role since. I have never winged anything in my entire life, and those of you who know me on any type of level are likely brutally aware of my unrelenting focus and determination. During my time at Queen's, I chose to involve myself in a few key areas at a time. I opted for the less is more approach because I never want to get caught over-promising and under-delivering. I have prepared for this campaign by spending 30 hours in consultation meetings with student leaders and Queen's administrators to understand what our community needs most right now, and I will continue this practice throughout the Rector term. The role of the Rector starts by showing up for assemblies and committee meetings, showing up for students during their accomplishments, whether it be graduation or an exciting club event, and showing up when it is hard. There will be setbacks and failures, but it is vastly preferable to sitting back. While there is no strong mechanism for accountability in this role, you must have trust in your rector to not only fulfill their duties, but to go above and beyond. Last year, I was the AMS Director of Marketing, and I attended every single AMS assembly, except for one because I was literally on the operating table. I was often asked why I attended every assembly meeting. It was outside of my job description to be there at the often hours-long evening meetings. To be the most effective at the tables I was fortunate enough to sit at in my roles, I needed to be informed on the critical and reoccurring issues presented by students. In all of my roles, my top priority has been to use this time, which was being funded by student dollars, to influence change. While it won't be easy to respond to these incredibly important and complex questions tonight in only 2 minutes, I hope you can feel my passion and commitment to be the best advocate for you. Thank you.
Okay. We'll now get into questions from the CEO. There is 4 topics. Each candidate will answer their question first for one topic and then second for the next, and then first and second to make it fair. Leo, you will answer your question first for this topic, and Nikki will answer first for the next topic. If at any point you would like to use your rebuttal, please indicate it to me, but remember that you only have one for this entire portion of the evening. Okay, the first topic is the rector position. Leo, historically, each rector has approached the position with a different mindset. What do you feel that your legacy will be?
Sure, yeah. So the position of rector is generally divided into 3 sections. So first, ceremonial, sitting at the convocation. Second, governance, board, senate, and student assembly. And also the concept of passion projects, such as helping for JDOT renovation, creating more EDII, and mental health initiative. My own personal legacy will be to support others and foster an environment for students to develop their own passion projects, building a stronger sense of community that we are always proud of. I will try to bring existing programs such as the Principal Student Initiative Fund under the Rector's portfolio and merge it into a new student fund, which will be used to support those working on their passion projects. It can be from engineering design team, entrepreneurial ideas, or becoming a content creator. I will be here to provide support by launching a fundraising campaign to the public, to the alumni, connecting students with relevant university departments and administration, and helping to connect with mentors from our alumni. This will give more students who have ideas an opportunity to foster at this university. And thank you.
Nikki, are there any aspects of the position you don't think you are prepared for? How will you work to improve that, as well as the position in tandem?
The rector is the only elected leader who does not have colleagues within their office and does not have any person from the university overseeing or approving their work. So there is little to no accountability for this position, which holds such power. Something that I have always enjoyed about my previous roles is that I work with collaborative teams. I have a history of leadership within and outside student government, and one of the things that has stayed consistent is that I've always felt best when leading a team to accomplish goals on behalf of students like yourself. In its current form, the rector operates all on their own as a lone ranger in their office, and I aim to change that. As I demonstrated in my platform, it is a major goal of mine to open the rector's office up to more students. To do so, and to mitigate the isolation of the rector's role, I will hire a student to fulfill a paid position. This will positively address not only the aspects of the role I am less prepared for, but it will also align with students' needs and their wishes to stay informed about who the rector is, what they do, and why it matters. As noted in my campaign platform, the best decisions are made by diverse groups of people. I aim to collaborate with not only student leaders, but the student body at large, to co-create outcomes with shared benefits and establish mutual responsibilities between the students and the university administration. With the help of my institutional knowledge, I seek to create these collaborative spaces in which these diverse groups of people can pool their skills and experiences to further strengthen communal advocacy on campus. It has become apparent to me that the current spaces, like AMS Assembly, are not always conducive to allowing safe and effective conversations, and I would like to lead the way for decolonized options that promote well-being of students.
Okay. The next round of questions will be under the topic Student Life and Campus Issues. Nikki, you will be answering your question first. With the JDUC slated to open for the start of the new school year and the office of the rector being moved back to its original location, how do you plan on bringing life and engagement back to one of the busiest student buildings on campus and ensuring it continues to serve all students, especially those of equity-deserving backgrounds?
I'm thrilled to have the JDUC up and running and better than ever. One of the best parts of this new build is that student accessibility has been at the forefront. Truly accessible spaces are very hard to come by at Queen's. Considering the JDUC is the heart of student life on campus, it is crucial that students with accessibility needs have the same opportunity to use the facilities. While the floor plan will offer the physical space to gather, it is important that students hailing from equity-deserving backgrounds feel safe to occupy it. I plan on bringing life and engagement back to one of our busiest student buildings on campus by co-creating spaces where students feel comfortable and heard. You might remember me from the AMS Ask You series. In one of the busiest buildings on campus, I hope to produce similar series by interviewing students about their needs, their fears, and their hopes. I'll also create timely and engaging video updates on what's going on behind the scenes in these closed-door, high-profile board meetings. I will bring information I collect from my conversations with students to the Board of Trustees to make sure they are not only aware of what is happening on campus, but they can't look away from it. Racism, discrimination, violence, lack of belonging, and representation are all here. They exist at Queen's. And as Jo Krona said in her book, Weawa, it is important that we say these words, because when we deny that, we are denying the possibility of creating a better world for us and on our campus. Thank you.
Okay. The third set of questions are under the topic, the university. Leo, you will answer first. As Rector, you sit on the Board of Trustees and many of the meetings are confidential. How do you plan on balancing the confidentiality the role demands with the transparency students expect, especially as it relates to issues like the budget?
So over the past 2 years, I have been talking with many current and former university administrators and student representatives to learn about the roots of this deficit. First, based on the proposed Matthew Evan, the overall deficit is caused by the provincial government tuition freeze. As Queen's budget model is heavily depends on that, especially when it's the decrease of international student enrollment. The university old plan is to attract more international students, but after the federal cap, this is not going to be a sustainable solution. During the December Senate, I debated with the Provost and RSI Faculty Board with Dean Crow. Last week, many rounds on deficit management. I tried to be a voice of reason, supported by facts and data, not fallacy. Today, I'm not here to make promises, but I will keep fighting and representing students to the university administration, at the board, and the Senate. Well, not the Senate, like I did on the Senate these past 2 years. In addition, I don't want to wait and make empty promises. I will launch my website and educational campaign on this deficit tomorrow, Friday, at 3 p.m. to quickly run down and provide information I know about this deficit. After countless consultation with the current and former administration and external group over the past 2 years and 2 weeks. Since I have some time, I can just briefly run down who I consult with. So I talked with the former principal, Daniel Wolf, and then the current principal, Patrick Dean. I talked with 6 former rector, even dated back to the Grand Bishop, who's a rector 20 years ago. And I also talked with the board, the chair of the Board of Trustees currently, Mary, and then talked with at least 20 senators, either currently or formerly. And then besides from that, I also talked with 4 other university student union presidents, including Weston, U of T, and McGill. And then together, I think we can, together I think we can find a solution that will benefit all. Thanks.
Candidate Nikki Boychuk-Hill has decided to use her rebuttal for this question. Okay, I accidentally made a mistake and I asked Leo a question from the next topic instead of giving him the student life and campus issues topic. So to make up for this, I will then ask Nikki her question about the university, and then we'll circle back to Leo's student life, campus, and campus issue question, and finish with policy proposal. Okay. In that case, Nikki, I will ask you your university topic question. As you know, the university is facing a $48 million deficit at the end of this fiscal year. There are plans to balance the budget by 2025-2026. Using your role on the Board of Trustees and your ability to advocate for students and understand the larger financial picture across the sector, how would you use the position to inform, communicate, and advocate?
I am a student too, and I am also scared. Many students are justifiably concerned and outraged because of the recent actions taken by Queen's administration. Every day we remember that we aren't just students at Queen's to get a piece of paper and walk across the stage. We are here to get the best educational experience possible. I am a student, but I'm a student with exceptional knowledge of policy, the university's financial situation, and how this can be salvaged. As rector, I would act as a constant reminder to the Board of Trustees that they need to be here for us right now and not just in abstract or long-term ways. To inform students about the deficit, I will attend assemblies, I will post consistent and frequent updates on my website and social media pages, and I will bring this subject up again and again and again. To communicate, I will metaphorically and literally leave my door open in the JDUC. I want to hear from all students, not just people who have high-powered or paid roles. I want to hear from volunteers, from interns, from students who have absolutely no interest in student government, but they're concerned about this budget crisis. In boardrooms behind closed doors, I will act as the amplifier for all of these student voices. To advocate, I will do what I've always done in my positions. I will not back down. When you are the rector and thousands of students have placed their trust in you, there is no room for being tentative or hesitant. While I aim to foster strong working relationships with the Board of Trustees, students can count on me to wear down the administration. This is something I will hold myself accountable to every single day. Thank you.
Okay. We'll now circle back, and Leo, this is your question for the Student Life and Campus Issues topic. The SHIFT survey has been a critical part of measuring and working towards changing campus culture. The Rector sits on the advisory committee. What do you see as the most important parts of the SHIFT survey, and how do you plan on supporting and advocating for them?
First, I will acknowledge the hard work of the staff and the committee have done for the survey. As someone sitting on various university committee right now, such as the orientation review, I have seen too many inefficiencies when it comes to project management at the university. With only 11.6% engagement rate, this is something we need to improve on and focus on. Engagement. Similar thing happened to the orientation survey. With a low turnout, we need to work on increasing student engagement, not only just for student government and clubs, but also when it comes to survey participation. When you ask students if you drink during the orientation, I don't think many students are going to give an honest answer. What I would do if I get elected, which is something I already proposed to the principal dean, is to set some feedback boxes on campus to get students to submit their concern directly to my office and to the university. And I will help to distribute and advocate for students to the university administration. Briefly also mention, I will bring it to some closed-door meeting and then making sure student voice get heard. At the same time, this will also help to get more people to participate in the survey, in which right now it's very vague, inefficient, and doesn't reflect other 90% student opinions, especially since everyone has different concerns and challenges that they're facing. I will also, based on the feedback from the box, bring it to the university senior administration and bring it back on a new social media page, which I will consult with the Queen's Confession to make sure more students can have an understanding on what other students at this university have experienced. We need to make sure that as many voices get heard, not just the people on the student government. Thanks.
We are now moving into the fourth and final topic for the question.
Sure, why not?
Sorry. Nikki will now use her rebuttal. A reminder to everyone that she has 30 seconds to rebut, and then Leo, you'll have 1 minute to respond to her comment. Okay?
Okay, you've said that you're not here to make promises. Well, I am here to make promises. And this is more than just a student engagement issue. This SHIFT survey has brought to light incredibly alarming data about student experiences and safety and well-being on campus that goes far beyond a fun week of orientation. 29% of students said that they've experienced harassment and discrimination at least once at Queen's. We have the data and we need to move forward with a concrete plan.
So first, to answer your question, I'm not suggesting we should cancel the survey, but instead I'm saying we need to have more engagement. So what we need to do is right now is university and then the student government is doing a poor job on getting students to understand what's going on here. For example, although there's a pretty good viewer space on the AMS or even the students, even the university Instagram page. The problem is most students here still have no understanding of what's going on here. When you ask people on the street, what's AMS? Most people will have no answer to that. So what I would do is I would try my best to increase the engagement by having more frequent feedbacks through different channels, not just the survey. The survey itself can only reflect to certain students' response. And then by, as I said, the feedback box, or even just talk with people on the street. That would be the best way to get as diverse and as many student voices heard. Thanks.
Okay, we will now move into our fourth round of questions. This topic is policy proposals. Nikki will answer first, Leo, you'll go second. Nikki, you have developed a comprehensive platform that features numerous actionable items. How will you work to convert these promises to actions on campus?
For my communications pillar, I will use my background in marketing and communications to deliver excellent and reliable information to the student body. I will hire a paid student within the Office of the Rector to support this goal, since it is necessary for me to use most of my time in the rooms where no other students are allowed to be a part of. I will work with students to establish safe spaces for discussion to make sure there are opportunities for those who do not feel comfortable reporting to or within the structure of the AMS Assembly or SGPS Council. For my well-being platform, I will focus on the hardships students are facing. As a fine arts student, we saw the foreshadowing of art side cuts last year when our program was suspended. I have felt that sense of fear and anger, and I will use that empathy to drive my decisions moving forward. I will be demanding the university to develop a centralized and frequent communication plan that is transparent and aligns with student needs. I will also press the university for a long-term plan for recovery that is informed by student voice and student choice. After my consultation with Arts and Science Dean Barbara Crow, where I communicated the need for increased transparency on budget cuts, the faculty put together my recommendation of an FAQ page for students. While this was a small first step, it was definitely not a perfect result. I believe that is a clear example of my leadership and how I'm already delivering for students. This is what I accomplished in 30 minutes. Imagine what I can do in 2 years. For my final pillar of collaboration, I will focus on amplifying advocacy efforts already underway across campus. I must be tapped into what is going on and have an ongoing collaborative relationship with these student groups so that I can present information to the Board of Trustees. And I will use the Rector position to guide and open doors for conversations that students want to be a part of. Thank you.
Leo, I will now remind you have not used your rebuttal. This is your last chance. Otherwise, we'll move on to your question. Would you like to rebut, or would you like me to ask you your question? You get 30 seconds to rebut, and then Nikki will have 1 minute to answer you.
Okay, I will rebut. Sure. Okay, so sure. Oh, okay. As you said, you want more people in your office. There's a reason why Rector is a one-person office. In the past, I've solved a very similar idea, but I will argue that we should not have just one paid position, but many more. So before I proposed to the principal, Patrick Dean, said that we should bring students into the administration, adding more work study position. For example, like last year, even me and then also Tara is also sitting here, where we kind of co-create a project called the Student Engagement Resources. Yeah.
After critically evaluating the Office of the Rector's budget, it became evident that hiring one student position is what is sustainable for the office to complete work right now. We have to start somewhere. Starting with one person is what I feel most comfortable at because I do need to balance other initiatives on campus. I will collaborate with other student leaders and jobs across campus, but currently there's not the funds in the office of the rector to be able to do anything further than one student position. And as a student who has had to pay for their education for 5 years, working full-time as a full-time student, I don't feel comfortable bringing anyone into the office of the rector if it's not a paid position.
Okay, we will now take a short break, and I will see you all back here in 10 minutes. Oh my god, sorry. My bad. Leah, do you want a minute to regroup? That's totally my error. Okay. Leo, in the event that you are not able to accomplish all of the goals that you have set out for yourself, what are one or two main policy proposals you would prioritize in your time as rector?
Okay, so first I have the confidence that I will accomplish all the goals that I set up for myself during this campaign, as I'm not going to make any big and empty promises, but only things that are more attainable and easy to achieve. I will make promises on what I can change, but when it comes to something that are out of my personal control, such as financial deficit, housing price, mental health, I will say that I am going to collaborate with university administration, student government, alumni community, and even other universities in Canada, and based on my previous experience and knowledge, to work toward a common goal for all. But if I have to pick one, I will aim for the financial deficit, by first informing the student on what is going on here, then calling for students to bring some solution and collect our deals and concerns. Then I will advocate for students to the university administration. After we unite the student body here, I will work with AMS, BPUA, and External Affairs Commissioner to form a strong alliance with the other universities in Ontario and Canada to advocate at the provincial and federal level. So no promises, but only real action. Thanks.
Okay, we will now take a 10-minute break. I will see you all back here at 6:57.
This is so fun.
The next section of the debate is entirely questions submitted by students. Leo, you were able to answer the question first last time, so Nikki, you will start this time. I will ask the question. Nikki, you can respond. Then Leo, you will give your answer. Nikki, if you feel you have more to say, you can circle back, but keep in mind, you only have 10 minutes total talking time for the whole question period.
Sorry, so we can respond to one another?
Well, ideally, I'll ask the question, you will give your response to the question, Leo will give his response to the question, and then if you feel you would like to add, you're invited to do so. Just be mindful of the time.
Any other questions?
Okay. The first question is, what's one thing you would do differently than the current rector?
Yeah, so I think that our student leaders do an excellent job working tirelessly. There's a lot of pressure on them, they're students. I am looking forward to improving the office of the rector just as it's done every single term with a new individual. And the biggest way that I'm going to improve the current state of the office of the rector is to make sure that I am utilizing the platforms that have been put in place already to communicate to students. Like I mentioned before, I will be posting video updates frequently. I will be letting students know what's happening even when I don't know all the answers. I think that students are being left in the dark because Queens and other student leaders feel like they need to have all the answers figured out right now, but that's going to take too long. We all know that, and so students need to be made aware of what is going on currently, whether it's I just had this meeting, this is what I'm working towards, what do you think, what do you want me to say in this board meeting, instead of leaving it empty.
Okay, Leo, once the time is ready, all right? Whenever you're ready, Leo. I would prefer if you said current rector, but if you would like to use his name, that's your prerogative.
So the current rector nearly have no social media presence, as almost no one knows him. And also, he have made many empty promises. Just like 2 years ago, I ran the campaign with him. How many promises have he fulfilled? Housing, nah. And then, so what I would do is like, I will make no empty promises, and I will make tangible action. Thank you.
Nikki, would you like to add?
Yeah, I'll just add that I'm looking forward to building upon the not only last 2 years of the current rector's work, but also the last, decade of past rector's work, because they have spent time working hard, and I don't want to start from scratch. I want to get going. I want to get the ball rolling right away, and I will be relying on the work that has been done already within the housing working group that was done this last term, because I'm not going to come into this role and expect to have all the answers right away. I want to build upon what's already been done.
Leo, would you like to add, or would you like to move on to the next question?
Yeah, sure. So after the COVID, many institutional knowledge have been lost. When I talk with the former 6th rector, 2 of them are actually from 20 years ago. The situation has changed, but what we can do is we should bring not only the current rector's legacy up, but also the former rector, including those 6 ones, and even more. So what I would do, I will consult with as many rectors as possible, even the one from 40 or 50 or even more years ago. Yep, thanks.
Okay, we will now move on to the next question. Leo, you will be answering this question first, and then Nikki, you'll have your chance. The question is, how do you plan on amplifying Indigenous voices on campus?
So I have been the Queen's Native Student Association intern while I was in first year. So first, what I will try to amplify is something I already done in the Senate many times. For example, last year we passed the Truth and Reconciliation Day. So what I would do is, instead of having just educating only on the truth and reconciliation. I will try to bring more indigenous knowledge to the non-indigenous student. For example, like how many people here knows about Pearl Island? Raise your hands. How many people here knows about the Sky Woman? Most people here, yeah, well, it's almost all from the other side's team. But like, what we need to amplify is we need to educate the non-indigenous student about the things that's not just the truth and reconciliation, but more about the beauty of the indigenous culture. Thank you.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. How do you plan on amplifying Indigenous voices on campus?
So everything that I've been doing during my campaign period in my platform has been modeling what I plan to do in the role of the rector. So like my communication strategy and marketing strategy, I will be executing it very similarly if I were elected. Similarly, with amplifying Indigenous voices on campus, as noted in my platform, this platform was informed by Indigenous voices. I put a portion of my budget into paying a translator to make sure that Indigenous voices are uplifted and centered in everything that I do. And I plan on continuing that through having meaningful consultations with bodies who are working towards indigenizing our campus and decolonizing our campus. Through one of my consultation meetings with the Office of the Indigenous Initiatives, they're doing a lot of really amazing work right now, and they want it to be amplified. They want to see a rector supporting their work and making sure that when I'm at the Board of Trustees meeting, that I am thinking about our Indigenous voices on campus and what they require.
Leo, would you like to add anything? If not, we can move on to the next question. You don't have to. Okay.
Yeah, so we mentioned about having a new pay position. What I was suggesting is we should have more collaboration with and using the existing opportunity or initiative program and to promote them. Since we're both marketing, we both have previous marketing experience, what we should do is we should promote the existing program, which is oftentimes, even when I ask people to raise their hands, most people have no ideas on what's going on here and then what's the true indigenous culture is. That is something we need to work on. It's not just to add in more and more positions, but to bring the existing resources to the max efficiency. Thanks.
I just want to clarify that that is also what I said. I want to amplify voices and projects that the Office of Indigenous Initiatives is already working on. That's it.
Anything to add, or are we moving on to the next question? Leo, you will answer this question. Me? No, Nikki first. Okay. Nikki, how would you respond to the increase in anti-Semitism we have seen over the past year?
I'd like to first say that it is very clear and evident that anti-Semitism in Canada and Queens is very real and very dangerous. Queens is not immune to this fact, and I believe that each and every member in our community has a role to play in shutting out hate and violence. The actions of student leaders and Queens administration are crucial in supporting a safe space to learn and work. While our worlds may have very little sway when it comes to issues outside of our campus, we can work on what's happening right here, right now. I will say a tangible way that I've heard through my consultations with Jewish students on campus is that we need cameras in residence buildings right now, not in 5 years. There are students who are living on campus and they don't feel safe, and that is unacceptable. I'll also add that while I have many ideas on how to work against hate on campus, I will be looking towards those students who are experiencing it to make sure I am making informed decisions when I'm speaking to the board about what they need to be doing to make this a safer campus.
Yeah, so 2 years ago, during my first Rector campaign, I already talked with people from both sides of this conflict and asking them about what role should a Rector play. Instead of having being a meditator, what they propose is the position of Rector should be a voice to represent the student, not just one student or like one group of students, but all students. So what I'm gonna do is, which is something I already done before, is I am currently literally the only student leader, like ask the university administration publicly on this conflict, which everyone tried to ignore. So what I've done before is on the Senate, on the two Senate meetings before, I've advocating, after I talk with student leaders from both sides, I have advocating for the university to send another mass email to the student who have like the special accommodation needs or special academic consideration needs, and then just to inform the student on I don't want to use the word privilege, but the thing they can use to for their benefit. And then again, I'm not making empty promises. I already told the real action. Thanks.
I just want to, I guess, rebuttal the point that anti-Semitism is not a conflict with sides. There's clear evidence that it is ongoing on campus. That's a fact. And I also want to say that I have seen incredible work and advocacy efforts being done by hundreds of students across campus, and that you are not the sole person advocating for Jewish students right now.
So to your point, this is not just anti-Semitism. For the last 3 years, I've been having a very close relationship with Queens Halal and advocating for their on behalf. And at the same time, also for the Palestinian student or Muslim student, they also experience the similar situation here. That is something we also need to focus on, not just focus on one particular group, but Rector role, it represents all the students, not just one group. Thanks.
Would anyone like to add more to this question, or are we moving on?
I'll add. I just want to make it abundantly clear that I was responding to the specific question about anti-Semitism. I will be supporting all student safety needs on campus, and I was just responding to anti-Semitism.
Okay. Leo, you will answer the next question first. If elected as Rector, how would you foresee yourself handling situations in which you face criticism from students, leaders, and other stakeholders?
So when it comes to criticism, it's not something that's new. I have already been criticized as an elected position. For example, like even during this campaign, someone called me a dictator or had some racist statement on Reddit. For what I would do, I'm not going to put something personal into this, but I would just think more about the collective university interests rather than my personal interests. So I would just move on and then keep representing the students on behalf.
I will not be moving on from criticism. I will be listening to it, I will be learning from it, and I will be moving forward, being more informed. I think that criticism is important because I am not going to go and say that I will be the rector that never fails. I am certain that I will have moments where I need support and I need help, and I plan on listening to students' voices and moving forward in a good way.
Leo, anything to add?
So currently, even the current rector, mostly only face the criticism from the student leaders. What we need to do is we need to make this position not just something behind the shadow, but we need to let more the broader student community know our existence. So by what I mean is that we not just gonna move on from the point. The thing I'm just suggesting, I'm not gonna attack back to like any criticism that I have, but I would just try to learn from the experience and talk with as many students, not just people from the student government, but the broader student community. Thanks.
Okay. Nikki, where do you stand on the planned budget cuts within the university? The Instagram account, Queens U versus Cuts, has highlighted the reputational and educational damage the current administration's lack of foresight will have. Where do you stand on the planned budget cuts within the university? The Instagram account, Queens U Students versus Cuts, has highlighted the reputational and educational damage the current administration's lack of foresight will have.
Yeah, so I actually had a very similar question in the first portion of this debate, so I don't want to repeat myself too much, but I believe that what is happening right now, what we are hearing is happening right now, and what we are hearing might come down the line, is very scary and frightening. And I believe that as a rector in this role, I would be required to inform the board of what is going on, of what students are needing, and I look forward to bringing the faculty societies together, bringing undergraduate and graduate students together. As a grad student myself, I know that there are experiences that we face that are different from undergrads, but we're all going to be experiencing the ramifications of these budget cuts, and it is my biggest priority to make sure that students' voices are being heard during the next year as we see the results of these budget cuts.
Yeah, so again, as someone who sat on the Senate, I have already even reached out to the student risk club when they only have 200 followers. So one of my colleagues had brought that to my attention, and I had talked with them even way before the provost sent the email. So again, I'm not making empty promises. I already did many actions. Even the Queen Journal had, on the December Senate, I have already debated with the Provost Matthew Evans, and even on the last week, on the faculty board, with the Dean Prowl, I have already taken many actions on fighting for the student and representing the student on this university reputation stuff. And then to the point, even the Provost kind of personally attacked me with some racist statement. But again, even to the formula question, I'm not gonna attack back. I'm just gonna move on. Thanks.
Yeah, I would like to add, while I don't have a position on Senate, I have consulted with Students First Cuts. I've attended one of their first team meetings, and I've also consulted Matthew Evans, and I will be doing that if I were elected as well.
Anything to add, or next question?
Yeah, so for me, I not only attend the first meeting of them, I also attend many faculty meetings, and then also other meetings, not just for the student. The position of rector, although is representing the student, you should be the role that you connect all the university body together, not just the students. And then even to the point, rector also represents alumni. In a sense, bringing alumni voice is also the key, and this is something we're lacking of. And thank you.
Anything to add? Leo, you will answer the next question first. How do you plan to manage competing student interests?
So the best example for this is just, I also briefly mentioned about it, it's really a Palestinian conflict. I already went back and forth. I spent my entire week of like the week 10, I believe, right before the Senate meetings. I talked with student leaders from both sides and tried to now find a common solution. We're trying to be a mediator, because that's something that's almost impossible. What I have done is I speak with both leaders, and then nothing political. I just try to find where something the student needs, and that I can solve on the campus, something that's actionable, not just something empty promises. So for example, like the thing I just mentioned, I spoke on the Senate to the university administration, advocating for the student from both sides on something that's non-political but academic. Thanks.
How will you manage competing student interests?
So as I've already done, I've consulted with dozens and dozens and dozens of student groups that are diverse and facing different challenges while here on campus. I will continue to learn and hear from these multifaceted groups, and I will use that to inform what I will be speaking to the board about. It's not about balancing who deserves to feel like they feel safe on campus. Everyone should be feeling safe on campus.
Yeah, so for me, I not only consult with the other student group. Personally, I work with almost every type of group before. For example, I work for active deserving groups. I work with the politic-related groups. I also work with university administration, faculty, different student. Well, those are not student groups, but like the other student groups. So for those, I have been as a first-hand experience on those, on like what kind of conflicts that might happen. Not just on even the ethnic conflicts, but also come to like the club conflicts, or even more broader stuff. So what I would say is that I will make real action, not promises. Thanks.
Through my 5 years here at Queen's, I've had extensive and sustained involvement with groups across campus, whether it's working on sexual violence and prevention, or it's working on being more transparent, or my policy efforts. I am also committed to translating that into the role of the rector.
Nikki, you will answer the next question first. In the first 100 days as rector, what is the first thing you will aim to achieve?
The first thing I aim to achieve is to understand what is happening behind the office of the rector, what's going on in their inbox, what has been happening in these closed session meetings, because as much as I have consulted current and past directors, there's a lot that I know that can't be shared right now, and I'm going to focus on understanding that. I will have had my first Board of Trustees meeting, and that's where I will be bringing the concerns from different groups like Students Speak Cut about the budget cuts, and figuring out how to move forward in a productive, effective way for students.
So for me, I'm not gonna waste my first 100 days on learning about the role, since with my diverse experience in the past, even I've been also a friend with Owen and learning about his role like over the past 3 years. And then what I would do is I would start my job the first day. I would start an alumni campaign trying to fundraise for the student fund that I mentioned before. And then probably not the first day, because it was like during the summer. Maybe I would just first make a concrete plan on how do I raise money and who are the target people are. And then I will accomplish that in the first 100 days, or even the first 30 days of my role.
I do not feel that it's a waste of time to be informed about the job, and I will make sure that I am understanding what has gone on over the past 2 years in the rector's office.
So by wasting time, I'm not suggesting like not to talk with the people. First, I already talked with almost every single senior administration and every single deans, and then also every single student government leader, currently or formerly. Well, not every single one, but most of them before. And then what I would do is I would just focus on making real changes for the first 100 days. Thanks.
Leo, how do you plan on bringing the office of the rector closer to graduate student workers on campus, particularly those whose livelihoods are funded by the university and are therefore have a heightened vulnerability during this time of austerity?
So first, This is some people didn't know. Rectors actually used to be a graduate position back in 20 years ago. Almost every single rector a graduate position. So what I would do is I already have a pretty close relationship with SGPS. SGPS. And then also for the incoming team, I have worked with Emil, who's probably gonna be the incoming president. And then we have already been working on the Senate for the past 2 years. I'll keep working with him and hearing more student voices. And at the same time, it's not only gonna be student government, but also other student groups. Thanks.
How do you plan on bringing the office of the rector closer to graduate student workers on campus, particularly those whose livelihoods are funded by the university and therefore have a heightened vulnerability during this time of austerity?
As a member of SGPS, I can relate to all of the fears and stress that graduate students are facing right now. I will use that experience to emphasize with other experiences that I cannot necessarily relate to. I'm also committed to working with PSAC to make sure that the decisions and the ways that I'm communicating with the university administration is aligned with grad student needs.
Nikki, you'll answer this question first. What makes you the better candidate?
I think the beauty of this position is that anyone can go for it, and it's up to the students to decide who they think the best candidate is going to be. I will say that I think I am an extremely sound option for the university and the state of things right now. I believe that I provide a sense of comfort to students because I have a history of accomplishing my goals, and I will continue that in the office of the rector.
So as I already mentioned many times, this is not just a position that everyone should go for. This is traditionally a position held by student leaders who have been previous student leaders. I have rich experience working with different university administration, department, faculty, student government, and student group. For this position, you're not just going to be trying to relate to everyone. You should be able to get every student to relate back to this office, not just for the personal cause.
Leo, how do you plan to address low student engagement?
So for this one, this is something I've been focusing on the past 3 years. I even do my research paper on the student engagement. Before, traditionally, I saw student engagement is only in politics and club. But after I talked with some rector, student engagement is not only student politics and then student club, but also to the broader student community. Many people have different concerns, different needs. That's something we need to focus on. Not just the people on the top, but every single student on campus. Yeah, so, yeah, I would just wait to end. Thanks.
Okay. I would like to inform the audience that Leo has now used all of his question time. And Nikki, how do you plan to address low student engagement?
So I'm going to tackle this first and foremost from social media. That's where students are. And my role through the AMS, I built the first ever communications brand guidelines. I was able to bring over 27,000 views to our Instagram account, and that momentum has only built forward.
You chose to let that time run out, so unfortunately I can't give it back to you. Okay, Nikki, in your last 11 seconds, your question is, you sit on the board of trustees. What changes would you like to see at this level?
like to make sure that what is happening within the Board of Trustees is being clearly communicated to students in a very digestible way.
Okay, that concludes tonight's debate. We will now move into closing statements and then the conclusion of tonight's debate. Nikki, since you went second for opening statements, you will go first for closing statements. To ensure equality, Alicia, if you'll bring up a 3-minute timer, we will get started.
As noted all over my campaign, I will use this platform to connect, to advocate, and to inform. By voting for me on the ballot, you can guarantee that I will show up with heart and I will always be ready to put in the hard work. I will work to maximize Queens' potential so you can feel genuinely safe and proud to be a Queens student and eventually an alumni. During this campaign period, countless students have told me that they do not know who the rector is or what they do. This is unacceptable, so my goal is that when I shake your hand on stage at convocation, you will know who I am and what I've accomplished during my time as rector. During this debate, you haven't heard empty promises or fluff from me. I have spoken about actionable goals and I know I can achieve them. We all want to feel seen and heard, and I have been achieving this for years, and I know I have the diligence, experience, and heart to help students at Queens. During your time at Queens, you deserve to trust your student leaders, and I can promise you can trust me. So when you're voting on February 6th and 7th, think about the values that you want in your rector. I am an inclusive, action-oriented, and people-centered leader. I believe that the current uncertainties of our school presents an opportunity for me to use my experience to be the best advocate for students, and I hope you will feel the same when you're casting your ballot. Thank you for showing up tonight.
Okay, Leah, when you're ready, you have 3 minutes to make your closing statement.
Okay, so in closing, I stand before you as a candidate committed to action and results. With a proven record as the former principal dean's intern, Senate Student Caucus Vice Chair, and 22 student government positions that are non-paid, I've been on the front line addressing your concern and advocating for transparency. As your rector, I will continue this fight. My vision is clear: a united, transparent, and a vibrant Queens community. Actions speak louder than words, and I'm not here to make empty promises. I'm here to affect tangible changes, to be a voice for you in every interaction with senior administration, and to ensure that your concerns are not just heard but addressed. Through fostering stronger student-alumni relationships, securing funding, and simplifying access to information, I aim to empower every student. No empty promises, just tangible changes. So on February 6th and 7th of 2024, cast your vote for a candidate who doesn't just speak but acts. Leo for rector, Yan will fight for you. Let's build the Queens community we all deserve. One that's right on loyalty, solidarity, and prosperity. Together, we can make it happen. When you shake someone on the stage, now that's when they leave this university. What we need to focus on is the current student, and then bring the alumni engagement back. And thank you for all your time. Kia, I will be a leader, but also a servant. Thanks.
That concludes our 2024 Rector debate. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. And those of you who can vote, we hope to see you at the polls on February 6th and 7th. Have a good evening, everyone.